Welcome to the screencast for Social Studies 6 that's going to explain how you are going to make your travel brochure. All right, so once you are in your Google Drive, the first thing you're going to need to do is click the Create button. And you have a couple of choices for how you would rather do this. You could do it as a document, you could do it as a presentation, or probably the best way so that you can adjust layout would be to do the brochure as a drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and select drawing. And then of course I get my blank document that's pulled up here. The first thing I want to do is give my document a name. So Social Studies 6 travel brochure should do the trick. And then you can see that it's saving. All the changes were saved. And now I can go ahead and start working on my brochure. You can lay this out as though it were a single handout you were going to give people. You could pretend that it's going to be folded and create different columns. However you want to do it is completely up to you. I'm grading more on the overall layout in general, but obviously, more importantly, I'm looking at whether or not you have accurate information, whether or not you're demonstrating that you've learned something about the country that you've selected. So you need to choose one country from Central America or the Caribbean. Once I have that country selected, obviously I would have gone through and done some research, used the National Geographic Countries for Kids website to help me get information, and some of the other resources that I have listed for you in that week's lesson as well. So I need to add obviously a title here so that I know what country it's about. The easiest way to do that is through a text box. So I'm going to click on the text box tool, and then that allows me to draw a text box anywhere I want in my drawing. So I'm going to go here with the heading, and then I would just do my country name up here. So maybe it would be, for example, maybe I'm doing Costa Rica, right? That would be my country name up here. And when I click off, I can then move this text box. If I go back and select the arrow, the select tool, once I have that, then I'm able to select it and drag it wherever I want to. Once I have everything in here, I can spin it and make it fancy that way. So you can see you can tilt it if you want to be a little artsy with your brochure. I can also select everything that's in here. I can change the font style. I can change the size, make it smaller or larger. If it doesn't fit anymore, I can just drag my text box so that it does fit. I can make it bold. I can change the text color. Okay, all that fun stuff to be artsy with it. Again, I can position that wherever I want. One of your other requirements is to have a catchy phrase. Think of it like an advertising jingle. And again, to add that, you would draw another text box. And this is where you would write your catchy sentence, kind of like a advertising saying. Okay, and again, I can adjust the font, the size, everything else. I can move that wherever I want it to be. Another thing that you need to have are key physical features from that country. So again, another text box, and I can just simply label it physical features. And then I'm going to want to include images. So obviously the best way to include images is to do a Google image search. And let's say I'm looking for Costa Rica volcanoes, and I can get some information. One of the most well-known is the Arenal volcano. So if I click on that, I can get some images. So right now I'm getting the web results for websites about that particular volcano. If I switch it to images, it's pictures of that volcano. So I want to try to find something like, see how this says 1000 by 600 something? That's a little big. It's going to take a long time to load into Google. So you want a picture that is a little bit smaller. So here's a decent one, 300 by 200. I'm going to take that. I'm going to right click and do copy image. Going to go back to my drawing and I'm going to paste it in. I can use the edit and paste that way. And then you can see at the top it says creating images. Once I get that image, this is very much how you guys, use these tools to do your Midwest posters. Very similar. So I have physical features. Of course, I want to label that, so I'll put a little text box under here where I can type Arenal Volcano. I can keep track of my sources, my images, via a separate document. Again, to get the image, you right click on it and you copy the image URL, and that's going to give you the website for that image. So you basically go through it, and that's essentially what you're doing. So you're creating physical feature information, you're talking a little bit about the culture and the history, and you have a catchy sentence that would draw people to the country, that tells them a little bit about what that country is all about and why tourists should come to visit there and spend their money there, and rather than visiting a different country. So if you have any questions about how to complete this assignment, don't hesitate to email me, but those are essentially the tools that you will be using: the text box and copying images in, and then of course the select tool to help you move things around and get the layout that you would like. So, like I said, if you need help, don't hesitate to email. Otherwise, have fun making your brochure.